Hello, this is Sanad here, and welcome back to Model Kit Monday. Today we're taking a look at the much-anticipated Real Grade 29 MSN-04 Sazabi, the Neo Zeon Char Aznavour's use mobile suit for new types. This is the primary mobile suit of Char Aznavour in the classic Gundam film, Mobile Suit Gundam Char's Counterattack. It is iconic, it is inspirational, and it is finally here in the Real Grade format. Now, I picked up this kit at my local Barnes & Noble for $55, which is a little much when you think about normal Gunpla pricing, but when you consider how large the Sazabi is and how complex it is totally worth it. Now, looking at the box here, I did want to point out the fact that this box is massive. If you're looking to import this from Japan or go order it from a place that charges shipping by the size, keep an eye out. It's much bigger than a normal Real Grade. Normal Real Grades are usually really thick boxes, but they're relatively small. As you can see, in comparison to the box for the Real Grade Tall Geese, the Sazabi is much, much larger. It's about the same thickness, but it is much bigger on the surface, and that threw me for a loop when I saw it and made me really glad I didn't pre-order it from Japan. Taking a look at the Sazabi itself, the first thing I have to talk about is the frame, because when it comes to the Sazabi, everyone was thinking, I hope it's not like the Sinanju. For those that don't know, since I never reviewed the kit, the Real Grade Sinanju suffered from a structural integrity problem due to the fact it used the frame of the Gundam Mark II, which is a relatively small mobile suit, while the Sinanju is very large and has a lot of heavy armor. It caused the whole thing to be a giant train wreck. I'm happy to report the Sazabi has none of those issues. It has its own unique frame that definitely can't be used for any other mobile suit. And it is something there I almost wish they'd go back and redo the Sinanju because of how well this works. That being said, I think that the only detractor is that the backpack is a little heavy and the feet are got so many joints in them, it's sometimes hard to get them to stand straight. But looking at the Sazabi up close, the head is replicated perfectly. The design that looks like Char Aznavour's helmet, all the little details, all the intricacies, stuff you could go in and panel line. Personally, I don't see a need to because of how much plastic color separation there is and detail it's already there. But you could even spruce it up a little bit with some extra panel lining if you so like. But even down to the bottom of the feet and the thrusters, it's just every single little detail is there, and there's very few stickers. You only see a few shiny spots, little green stickers for lights. That's about it. Everything else is plastic detail. This kit took me countless number of hours to actually build. It is also, like I said, absolutely massive. As you can see, it's here with the high-grade Universal Century RX-78-2 Gundam Revived version. It's a lot of words, but that is my standard for standard size for 1/44th scale kits. The Sazabi is not only larger than a Gundam, it is larger than most everything I own in 1/44th. I think the only thing bigger is the Psycho Gundam. That's my personal collection. It's big. Now, taking a look at these smaller details, the cockpit can open, much like a lot of Real Grades, as well as the side skirt pieces slide open to reveal extra detail. The bottom boots can adjust the thrusters, the side skirts open. You can even adjust the shoulder opening so you can have an extra little space between the red. Really cool little details that kind of enhance the experience. It gives you options for display. You don't just have to have the Sazabi. Now, taking a look at the articulation, I gotta say, this is really impressive. The head does move, careful of the spikes. The shoulders have full range, including, 3 or 4 different joints in the shoulder pads alone. The double joint elbows manage to slide and twist in order to pull a double joint, which is fantastic. You got a ball joint at wrist, you have a camera thrown off by all the red, a waist joint that swivels, not so much torso articulation, but that was the Sinanju's biggest failing, so that's fine. Hips, universal, swivel, double joint knee, sliding panels everywhere. Ankles can just move however you want them. These are like the best ankles I've seen on a large scale mobile suit. Backpack has little pod things that move, side skirts of course move, and the funnel pods move. The hands are simple, 2 fists, 2 beam saber holding hands, and 1 rifle holding hand. Now, looking at other pieces, we got the stand clip, standard, and the tiny Char Aznavour in the 1/144 scale, which is really cool. He's got his cape and everything. Taking a look at the beam sabers, the little handle facades are there. They're not the actual handles, but they're hard to get out. The actual handles are separate pieces, which is much appreciated. and you get 2 beam sabers. Now the beams themselves are actually reuses from the Sinanju for both the beam sabers and for the beam tomahawk, which works. You don't need to change the mold on that. They're just now in fluorescent green instead of fluorescent yellow, both translucent plastics. Really cool looking stuff. I do like these beam sabers, but I do wish it was easier to get the handle facades out of the wrist. Moving right along with more weaponry, we have its shield. Now the shield is iconic. It's what the Sinanju modeled its shield after. It's really big, it's really beautiful. It's very simple in a lot of ways. We have that nice gold Neo Zeon emblem on there, which is a nice decal addition. The other thing is that you have an adjustable handle, handle more like an arm attachment, and you have a missile pod that does remove if you don't want it there, as well as the beam tomahawk handle, which is stored nice and snug inside of the shield. Attaching the shield is quite easy. It's 3 little pegs. It slides and clips right in, and I've had no problems keeping it on. It just stays solid. Moving along to the rifle, the beam rifle here is really cool looking. I've always loved the design of it. It's got a pump action stock on it with an additional sticker that runs all the way down the course, plus a removable magazine and an adjustable handle. I don't think I showed off here. That's just to help get around the Sazabi's armor. The handle does have a slot in it, and there's a peg in the trigger finger hand, which I love because that means you can hold the weapon no problem. But yeah, he holds the beam rifle really well. It's really solid. Like, I have trouble with the split hands sometimes falling apart. So far, so good, knock on wood. This one hasn't had any issues with holding any weapons, and I think what helps with that is the pegs in the hand and the slot in the handle. That provides a lot more stability than just kind of wedging it together, and I really wish all Gunpla did that for here on out. Now, enough about the beam rifle, let's talk about the beam tomahawk. It's a little handle, but you do get beam effects, 2 that make kind of regular side axe beam effects, as well as the fact that the port on the top of the beam tomahawk can support the beam saber beam, which there's two beam saber beams, and there's, only 2 hands, so you don't ever need 2. But once you got the beam tomahawk assembled and ignited, it looks really cool. He holds it really well. Again, pegs in hand, slots in weapon. It looks really good, and the articulation is totally there. You can pull off realistic poses with this thing. I don't think you can do with even the master grade Sazabi. This is really impressive how they've able to get everything to move out of the way. Of course, the beam tomahawk can also attach other pieces, which are longer, more extended blade-like pieces, and this can then attach to the shield, so you get a shield slash beam tomahawk weapon combo, which just looks really nuts. It's kind of hard to figure out how to line up the actual tomahawk on the shield, but once you have that, it looks really, really cool. But it is a little trickier to pose because it's just so big, and the Sazabi does hold it well due to the very solid connection with the shield, as well as the stability of the kit, especially with those feet. Those feet are fantastic. It always solves the balancing problems as long as you adjust the feet correctly. It's pretty much perfect. The funnels have these really cool opening pod system where you can open them up and remove all the funnels. All 6 come out. They are separate pieces. They were the most time-consuming part to build simply because it was the repetition of 6 smaller funnels that are made up of about 7 pieces of each. You can also pull them out without opening the pods. That's an option too. But each funnel does open up with these little side pieces as well as slides forward, so you have the open funnel look. And the funnels look fantastic. All 6 of them spray out. I'm sure you can figure out some way to rig them up with some stands, but there are no base effects included to have the funnels fly. Now, of course, I can't leave this review without comparing the real grade Sazabi with the real grade Sinanju. These 2 kits are very similar in design in series, specifically because full frontal wanted to replicate Char as his reign in Neo Zeon, and looking at the 2 kits, it's really night and day how much better the Sazabi is than the Sinanju, and it all comes down to that build quality and the internal stability that the Sazabi's unique frame provides as opposed to the Sinanju's Mark II frame. Overall, I can't recommend the real grade Sazabi enough. This kit is fantastic. This is the highlight of Gunpla this year for me. I admittedly haven't built the real grade Tall Geese yet, but I think this is probably the real grade of the year, and I really am stoked that this happened. This is like one of those kits that's kind of like a dream that Bandai made into a reality. I'm hoping with the next real grade release being real grade 30, we're going to get something really cool. There's rumors floating around that the next kit's wanted to be special, and I think it would be really special if it was the new Gundam to rival with the Sazabi. And that would allow me to forgive Bandai for taking so long to make a real grade Phoenix, because every other scale has one, but real grade. So overall, I gotta recommend real grade Sazabi. Like I said, if you're in the US, check your Barnes & Noble stores. I always support buying Gunpla from Barnes & Noble stores or comic stores because that helps continue Gunpla to be stocked in retail stores for us to purchase. Also check out online stores like Amazon, USA, Gundam Store, or Big Bad Toy Store. I'm sure you can find the kit out there. But do be wary of importing from Japan if you're overseas, simply because that box is going to be big, so make sure you know how much your shipping rate's going to be before you order one of these. But that does it for this week on Model Kit Monday. Stay tuned for next week, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be reviewing another Gunpla kit. I have no idea which one. We'll see what I end up building in the next week. Until next time, this is Sanat saying goodbye.